Hey everybody, it is Uncle Mike, and today is the new moon. For those of you that follow the calendar system, that means it is April 12th. And today, what we're doing right here is we are selecting cards for this moon cycle. Now this is a service, or this is something which I usually only offer for the subscribe star members at like the tier that gives you this. I think it's the second tier, third tier, I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to share at least the beginning of it with the people who are not part of that, so you get an idea of like, what this looks like, what this comes with. So the first thing is like, why do you pick cards? Am I trying to predict the future? And absolutely not. This is not about predicting the future. This is about giving a point of reference in terms of understanding reality. We always have a point of reference of whatever reality we're living in how we interpret reality. And if you're not conscious, and what I mean by that is you're not purposeful with what your point of reference is, it's always going to be an unconscious point of reference. And for the majority of people, that is a point of reference which has been given to you by the system you were born into. And for the majority of us, and I would say everyone who's probably here, it is the point of reference of the matrix. And so when your point of reference is the matrix, you are understanding reality through their lens. In order to break free of matrix consciousness, you need to begin to have new points of reference. And so the point of reference, what it does is it provides the foundation for a contemplative life. And so what that means is like life happens and then you think about it. You're like, oh, wow, this is what's happening. You have a point, you're contemplating. There's certainly there are infinite ways of living life. There's not a way like, a one right way. That's a tough thing to say. One right way of living life. But, well, I'd say that's not true. I'd say, yeah, there is. And that is, to be aware of how you're living life. But then after that, you live the life, you decide to live the life based upon what you decide. That's becoming conscious, or at least that's part of becoming conscious, is this recognition of how we live life and deciding how you're going to do it. So that being said, a contemplative life is not the only way to live life. In fact, you could go and make a very strong argument that I don't want to have a contemplative life. I want to have an absolutely free and spontaneous way of interacting with life. In fact, that's like a Zen master, you might say, that's how they live their life constantly, being spontaneous and not interpreting and taking life as it is. And so that's a fine path, Zen masters, they're awesome dudes, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I've met some, maybe I haven't. I don't know. But that's not my path. I'm not living on a mountain. I personally take a lot of teachings and techniques from lots of other paths and incorporate it based upon into my own system. And I guess that's what I'm trying to do here. Is it's not so much of saying this is the system to do, as much as it is to inspire and to demonstrate how we create our own individual systems. So that being said, we're going to go and pick two cards. And we pick those cards not to say this is what the future holds. What we do more so is we're setting the stage for the next new moon. And what we're going to do is reflect backwards to the previous cards from the previous new moon and think about, well, what has happened? And I'm going to talk about it from my perspective, but it's not limited to that. So the cards I'm going to pick are, I guess it's somewhat personal as it relates to, I'm the dude who's picking them. dumb. But if you are participating, well, then you get to go, and it is part of your experience as well. Like, I'm being very conscious explaining it that way, but that is how reality works. When you participate in anything, you are putting your consciousness into it, and then you get to decide whether or not, like, how much awareness you bring to it. You watch the Super Bowl, you are now a participant. You don't watch the Super Bowl, you're not a participant. If you are a participant in watching the Super Bowl, well, then you get to go and decide with your own degree of awareness, like, to what degree. Is it going to be, I'm conscious and I see what's happening, or I'm completely unconscious of my participation, and then I don't even know what I'm participating in. So, like, all of this stuff is just like, demonstrations of how we interact with reality, how our inner world meets the outer world, so that as we become more and more aware of what this dynamic is, what is the structure of this dynamic, well, then we get to have more and more influence in terms of how we go about life. We control the things which we can control. And so there's truly nothing which you can control other than your inner world. So all that being said, I kind of like, well, it's just, we're picking cards and we're not predicting the future or anything like that. I don't know if card picking, it doesn't have to be card picking. It's anything. It's any sort of system where you're going and you are consciously saying, I'm meeting with the greater reality, the mystery of life, and I'm going to then use some sort of system in terms of have some sort of dialogue, whether that be cards, whether that like reading the clouds, runes, anything which is outside of like this very, very like structured approach, and you have like a mysterious and interpretative approach. That's when you get to go and play this kind of dance, or have this dance with the greater reality, with life, and so forth. You decide what language it is which you choose to have the conversation. But the point is, like, once you start doing this, you're going to begin to realize, or at least I have, maybe you'll come to a different conclusion, but you're going to come to the realization that it is deeply connected. And where you put your consciousness, and this is also true, it's like the cards you choose, like whether or whatever system you use, like, once you see it, whether you want to say it puts a potentiality into motion, or it is framing your lens of awareness to look at the world a certain way. Either, whatever the description of what it is, there will be a link. I kind of go back and forth in my own world in terms of like what am I communicating with these cards, because this is part of my process, and it is proven to me, at least, to be very valuable in terms of offering insight and ways of looking about things. And so, I go back and forth, and then ultimately, for me, I've settled with, I'm going to continue to do this, but I don't quite understand the mystery behind it. So, with that said, we're going to switch to the subscriber section of this subscribe star section. Another difficult thing to say. Subscribe star portion of this video. This is what the monthly card reading looks like from a viewer's perspective. The cards which you see shown are the cards that were picked last month. If anyone is interested, please come and join us at the subscribe star level tier 3. You'll see in the description if it includes the monthly reading, and this is what it is. So for those who are not participants, this is where we say goodbye. And for those of you who are, well, this is where we begin.